One of my favorite memories just walking to school. We used to have the best time walking to school, going back home. Then you get here, people all in the hallway, just so much fun. Till the teachers just get tired of us and make us go in class. Anyway, I got so many memories. I don't know where to stop. Anyway, but I left in '66. We moved over the east side of town, so I went to Atkins my last 2 years. But it's always gonna be home, cause everybody I know, Kimberly Park, kindergarten, whatever. This is always home. This is where I feel like home at. Anyway, I'm so glad my name is on something besides a grave. Anyway, I love y'all. Hey, I live in Greensboro now, but I still see a lot of people. Anyway, this is a glorious day, and I thank y'all for doing it. All right.
I have so many fond memories. I can't give you a most fond memory, but I can remember the love that we felt at Paisley. I had one of my instructors as a next door neighbor who took time with me, gave me one of my first jobs of babysitting. So I remember that, and I remember the Marching 100. That was a lot of fun. And the last thing I want to say is I had the privilege of coming back to Paisley to teach after I finished school. It was in 1973, and I came back to teach. That's one of the most gratifying things I've ever had to happen.
And my fondest memory of Paisley was how we worked together, we shared together, and we had mentors as teachers that we could go to when we would have a problem, and they would lead us in the right way. Thank you so very much. Love you all.
I went to night school on Atkins, and the next year I went to join Miss Matthews. I was in Miss Matthews' class in 11th grade, but I had enough units to come out with class of 63. I enjoyed myself as I came. I learned a lot from students. As well as I learned a lot as students, and I'm still with the alumni, Paisley alumni class.
Hi, I'm Frank Thomas. 1962 was my year for the first graduation class of Paisley. But I remember why they built Paisley High School, to clean up the overcrowdedness at Atkins High School, where every black child at that particular time went to. They also created this to separate us and keep us from going to the well-rounded Reynolds High School. So that was a good memory and a bad memory. And I'm very proud to have been a Paisley Heights. Be blessed.
My name is Shirley Johnson, and I'm a graduate, a 1968 graduate. And one of my favorite memories would be in the band with Mr. Bernard T. Ford. He was a great instructor, and when he got me in the band, he is just so personal. I wasn't even supposed to be in the band. I got in the band during the summer, doing my driver's education. Couldn't play an instrument, but because Mr. Ford was so loving, he saw beyond that. And being in the band was one of my greatest memories. Thanks.
My husband was a faithful member of Paisley alumni. I used to call this his first home, because anytime the alumni called, you best believe he was out the door.
And I just want to say I thank the Paisley alumni for establishing the Napoleon Wilkes Scholarship. It really means so much, and I know he is smiling from the heavens.
My mom is a 1967 graduate of Paisley, and she really don't want to talk, but I told her I would give her memory. She always talked about how I was born a year before she graduated in 67, and she said young lady whose name we're not going to mention because she might be here sassed my mother because of me. And she said that when she came to school that morning, she took her by the ears and she took her head and rammed them down the lockers. And Mama said, Yvonne, I was so scared, and she said, I sat there because I knew the next day I was going to be expelled. But she said she was so scared she didn't tell it on me. And she said I was able to stay in school. So that's a memory that is not too pretty, but she always spoke about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Carol Poe. I was Carol Stowe. And my memories were in PE with Miss Torraine and Birdie, Miss Birdie. Well, I think she was Coach Birdie. But I loved PE. And I loved the band with Mr. Foy. I had several friends that I hung out with, Barbara, Jean, and we had a good time at Paisley. I'll never forget the years. So, Hail Paisley.
My fond memories of Paisley was going to Miss Ballard class. I hate to go to Miss Ballard class. That Romeo and Juliet was getting to me. And I missed all my classmates when I graduated, and I enjoyed them forming alumni. It's a good thing to have. And especially JP, I miss JP. Fond memories at Paisley.
My fondest memory of Paisley, I was the last class of 68, was the Paisley Marching 100 directed by Bernard T. Ford. I was the majorette for 5 years. We really enjoyed it. And when it was time for the band to come down the hill, they would say, Paisley Marching Hundreds, take the field. And we had to do our stance, which was...
My fondest memory at Paisley was, I enjoyed it. We had some outstanding teachers. It was an experience in my life that I'll never forget. And I am proud of this dedication today that all these students are coming together to take pride in being a Paisley Panther and being a part of this legacy. Thank you.
I am quite proud to be a Paisley Panther, and there's no other school, as far as I'm concerned, but Paisley Senior High School. I love Paisley, I love the teachers, I love the alumni, I love everybody at Paisley. And one thing about the teachers here at Paisley, they made sure that we got our education. And that's all I have to say about Paisley. And the alumni is number one. Thank you.
Everybody called me House, because I was a mischievous little guy. But, overall, coming from almost nothing and managed to get something was a blessing. And this Paisley alumni is just like one big happy family. I love it. I love the school. I love to play. I played hard and I fought hard. But I played a good game. It's not the way you win or lose, it's how you play the game. And some games took heart. And I was a star in some things. I stood out. I made the football team at Paisley, 65. I was, my freshman year on the freshman team, I made a honorable mention. My sophomore year, I made the second team, all city. On my third year in school, I made all city, most valuable lineman. And like I say, some things had to be handled. So I was one of them to handle, kept control. You need some of them, alpha male. You need a head leader. So that's what I was. Me, Arthur McGee, Donald Snow. Hey, it's a long list, but the list has gotten shorter, but some are still here, you know, by the grace of God. And I'm enjoying this. Y'all look at this, and I hope you get, like Mr. Pitts told me one day, I was in the manual art shop. Mr. Pitts said, "Cuz, come here. He said, you know what about a brother? I was trying to hold a brother up. I said, hold up, Mr. Pitts. I said, hold up. I was about 10th, 11th grade. He said, yeah. I said, no, not it. That ain't a brother. That's, you know. He said, you know what a brother do? I said, what, Mr. Pitts? He said, he gonna overdo it or underdo it every time, so it ain't gonna never be right. Okay, signing off. Thank you.
My favorite memory at Paisley started with a teacher by the name of Ed Martin. He was one of the most, I guess you would say, flashy dressers I had ever seen. Very intelligent gentleman. And what stood out with me was when I was in his class, he made a comment first or second day of school. He said, if you come to my class, I am so good at what I do. If you just sit in here, you can't help but learn. And I walked away from that and realized in life that confidence, and that's what he displayed. He had the confidence and the belief that he was that good. And when I was at Paisley, come to find out, the majority of the teachers, that's the way they were. They were that good. They believed that if you listened to them, you couldn't help but learn. So my memory of Paisley is the teachers, the professionalism, and the love that they gave us, and the drive that they had, and the professionalism. And I think that's why the majority of the students at Paisley, we turn out to be successful. You know, very few didn't, but the majority of us did.
I enjoyed my stay at Paisley Junior High and Paisley Senior High. I wish to see more alumni members participate in our affairs and everything, and I just like to see more production out of everybody. Thank you.
I was the class of '68, the last graduating class of Paisley. I started off at Kimberly Park, but I'm still saying that most of the people who we went to school with were connected with one another. I was fortunate to achieve in school. I did have pretty good grades. I enjoyed the school itself, the fellowshipping and the camaraderie we had. I also ended up being my senior year a three-letter when I played 3 sports. Sad to say, we played the state championship in football, basketball, and baseball. We came in second place. So that was an accomplishment there. We had talent at Paisley, not only in sports, academics. We were one of the better schools, and luckily I was one that I wasn't an honor student every year, but I had good grades, good enough to get a scholarship, which I ended up getting a scholarship. And like I say, I had a great time at Paisley. I think from the time we started at Kimberly Park, which is the school we started at the Paisley, we had a good community, good neighborhood, good teachers who didn't take no junk. I had a lot of coaches that really inspired me, and I guess they knew I had talent, which I didn't, and they just told me to keep them grades up and would whoop my butt if I didn't, which I think that was pretty much part of it. And through that, I ended up sort of bringing my kids that have nothing to do with this, but I'm just saying, when you have a good training and good people bringing you stuff, you just carry that on. And I think I would have to say fortunate my kids ended up doing the same thing. And that's it. But like I said, I graduated in 6th, taking the last graduation class. I was a member of the Alumni Association, and I'm still active in Paisley to this day.
My most fond memory is definitely the good times that I had at Paisley High School. The memory that I have carried with me all these years is when I was in the marching band at Paisley High School. I played in every band except the jazz band, and I wanted to play real bad. And I didn't know what instrument I wanted to play, but Mr. Foy said he had a saxophone, and I couldn't afford a saxophone. I knew I couldn't go rent one, but he said that he would let me use his while I was in the band if I learned how to play it. And that stuck with me the entire time that I was at Paisley, went off to college. Even now, when I'm 71 years old, I think of Mr. Foy and what he did for me. One time he told me, and I think it was something that he told me to motivate me, he told me that I would never amount to anything. And I took that as a challenge, that I was going to make sure that I did something with my life. And I did. And I'm happy for what he said. I'm happy for what he did for me. And playing that saxophone in the jazz band, I learned how to play it. Got pretty good, not good as I probably could have been, but Mr. Foy was like a father to me in that instance. And I appreciate that more than anything else that I experienced at Paisley High School.
My best memories of Paisley, the ones that I still remember, was something that I did just about every day during football season. We had band practice, and we stayed at band practice until dark, way after dark. We had to hit that white line, and we had to all be on time. So, you know, we spent quite a bit of time trying to get that right. But those were some of the best memories I had because we got to talk to everybody. We had plenty of time to talk. We got to know each other very well. And I enjoyed most of my teachers. Today, I got to talk to one of my teachers, Miss Billy Matthews. She is a very good memory, and I'll always remember Miss Matthews. She helped me learn how to do geometry. Math was not my favorite subject, but when I got through with her, I was halfway decent. And I remember her, I always remember her for putting that idea into my head that I could get it, and she made it possible for it to happen.
My fondest memories was when me and the boys got together. We were something. We went to all 3 recesses. We did everything. I don't even know how we got out of high school, but we did, and we've done pretty well out here by ourselves. So, you know, Paisley was that was it for me. I love Paisley. I love Thursday, Friday football nights, sneaking in the games, doing everything that we could. I love Paisley. It is the basis of my being.
My fondest memories of Paisley, I had the best time in my entire life at Paisley. Run up and down the hall, getting into mischievous things, but we always took pride in what we do. But Miss Paisley come out of our class, the student council came out of our class, everything came out of 66 class when we were there. And I have the best memory, and I love those classmates, and I'm here for them day in and day out. Thank you very much.
Okay, so to wrap up today, this has been a great event. We're going to wrap it up with my story. Some of it, of course, I can't tell. But I want to say that, like everybody else has reflected today, attending Paisley High School was really, really not just an educational opportunity, but it was a real fun. It was a treat. As a matter of fact, I loved it so much, I decided to stay a second year. So I was supposed to be a member of the class. I am a member of the class of 67, but I became a guest for the class of 68 because I decided, you know, hey man, I like it over here. I don't want to go out in the world. But anyway, that wasn't really the case because I was out partying all year long during 67, me and the boys. And I talk to people now, they say, well, yeah, I remember you sitting in the window, you and your buddies. I said, do you ever remember being in class? They said, in class? And I don't remember you being in class, which is true. So I flunked. I remember sitting in the window one day when we were supposed to measure caps and gowns. And the 2 teachers came by, Miss Brandon and another teacher, and they were saying, have you guys been measured yet? We was like, oh, no, ma'am, not yet. They said, stand up. They took out the tape and started measuring our heads. And I had a little afro because I've been reading Jet Magazine, H-Rap Brown, Stokely Carmichael and guys. I said, well, I'm going to be like that. Had me a little afro. They got to me and said, you going to get a haircut? I said, no ma'am. Miss Burns said, oh no ma'am, you're not graduating anyway. I mean, I wouldn't hurt it because it was funny because I already knew I hadn't been to class in half the year, so we bust out laughing about it. But I did go back the next year and wrap things up. And even that year, I had to thank Miss Matthews for helping me get through geometry because, again, geometry and math is not my thing. And she would ask me, told me, JP, Beatty, I don't think you're going to pass this geometry class. And I remember telling her, I said, Miss Matthews, I guess I'll never graduate from high school because I've already been drafted by the Army. And the only reason I'm not in is because Mr. Smith, our assistant principal, contacted them and said, basically, this dummy is still in high school. They sent me a letter and said, okay, upon completion, report. So I had to be ready to go to military. And if I didn't graduate, if I didn't pass geometry, I never would have graduated. Bless Miss Matthews' heart. She gave me the best D I have ever had in my life to get me out of that. And you know, that took me out of there. It took me to a different world. And it's a blessing, and it's by the grace of God and a lot of other things that, along with my classmates, my buddies, the boys, my party boys, we all made it to this point in our life, and we've had a good life and continue to have a good life. So thank you, Paisley. Thank you, teachers. Thank you, guidance counselors. Thank you, principals. Thank you, classmates and friends. And as we continue to hang out together and support each other today, it's because we're family.